What is this? We can't take this menagerie into the caves.
Can't we?
Carisbad Cavern's a national park. It's against park regulations.
We purchased the regular tour tickets. Now we are ready for the tour.
No, sir. Not unless you leave all this stuff and those animals behind.
Did Noah leave his animals?
Noah?
Yes, Noah.
Bring a few more of the boys down. We got a real live one.
No prayer is adequate to this moment, except for the prayer within each of us. So, let us pray now. Pray, but don't bow your heads. Look up. Look up at God's sky. Fix it in your memories. Capture its beauty as we see it at this moment. Still free of Carmen-14. Cesium-137, Cerium-144, unfissioned plutonium, strontium-90, the bone seeker. Amen.
Amen.
Now look, there's another tour at 4 o'clock. So why don't we all go up to my office and talk about it, huh? I can see something's troubling you. All right, now, let's move all these animals back up the trail.
Sir, I'm going to tell you something, and if you repeat it, I'll deny it. 2 days from now, on January the 1st at 6 p.m., this hemisphere is going to suffer a thermonuclear attack, somewhere I judge in the range of 25,000 megatons.
Now, hold up! Hold up! Hey, hold up.
The management frowns at any familiarity between the tourists and the help.
How about the help?
You don't see any wrinkles, do you? No frowns.
No.
Come over here.
When's the 5 o'clock whistle blow?
It gets to be noon around here, about 12 o'clock. That's about 5 hours quicker.
I'll pick you up.
You already have.
That's what I need. No gentleman. What do I call you?
Buzz,
Is that a name or a high frequency?
you decide.
12 o'clock.
Who's that? Lunch?
Why don't we trade off? You know, you take my spot in White's Museum, and I'll take the sky ride.
What'd you find out in El Paso?
Oh, I'm the owner. There's a complete inventory. The attorney says even if I find out where he went, the gift is, and I quote, irrevocable and in perpetuity.
Did you find out what it's worth?
About $10,000, but I don't see how I can keep it.
Well, why not? He gave it to you.
You must be as wacky as he is. There's got to be a grabber. You know, nobody just gives a truck and a trailer to a total stranger. Maybe I'll advertise. Lost and found. One group of 16 people, 2 goats, 2 horses, assorted rabbits, and chickens. If found, please contact Todd Stiles in White City, New Mexico. Enjoy your lunch.
Where are you going?
Just back to the museum. Where else?
Is that a name or a high frequency?
The camp just ahead there.
Mr. Walsh, if you don't mind waiting here, it's best I talk to him alone.
Well, tell him he's got to come up, and right now. Washington's been on my neck all afternoon. This is a national park, not a bomb shelter.
I'll try to point out the difference.
Well, Dr. Claridge, I think we've been pretty patient about this so far. I kept lights on for these people. Kept the regular tours completely away from them. I even detailed a ranger to help them. That takes dollars, taxpayers' dollars.
I see.
Mark.
Ed. Henry, I'm so glad to see you. I tried to reach you.
I was buried at MIT. You know, those Bevatron problems. And I came up for air, then whisked me off to Washington for a talk. How about you? It's a long way down here.
Oh, here, sit down.
Thanks. Mark, I thought you'd learn to live with the bomb. Learn to look at it the way you look at a heart condition. You have a coronary, try to get along with it. If it acts up, well, you try it.
Henry, it's going to happen. Didn't they tell you what I found out? Why I'm so sure?
Yes.
Well?
Amplitude inference, Mark, philosophical induction.
So you don't believe me either, then? You don't believe there's going to be an attack?
I still believe in man, Mark, regardless of his political system. I just can't believe any man would deliberately order an attack. My belief does falter from time to time. I take some little solace in my knowledge of our retaliatory striking force. They wouldn't dare, Mark. They know the price. They just wouldn't dare.
Henry, our generation is filled with men who would dare. They're passionate with daring. They're drunk with the power that we've given them. The button pushers, the countdown dictators, the missile rattlers. Henry, I told the National Security Council, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and now I'm telling you, Nikolai was trying to warn me. And the only way that he could, by sending me those Chinese boots, and by the unusual way he was playing chess with me in the last 3 months of our correspondence matches. This is more than inference. This is more than philosophical induction. Don't you see that? Well, I'm not sure how Nikolai wanted me to handle this, but I'm sure that he wants me to live. Probably in Russia at this very moment, he's gathering around him and hiding hand-picked men and women as I've done. So when it is over, we can start again. We can try once more, Henry. Please stay, please.
Jane to consider, you know, our children, our grandchildren. I can't just leave them alone now, can I? You're a brilliant man, Mark. Possibly the most brilliant I've ever known. If you're right about all this, if we are to be attacked and destroyed, I, for one, will raise my eyes to the first warhead and welcome a return to the nitrogen cycle. because in such a world I prefer to be inorganic. In such a world, survival is meaningless. Well, I told them there was no point in sending me here. A stubborn man I could confuse, possibly convince, but a principled man, I'm powerless. You sure you don't want to come back up with me? Well, come and see me soon, Mark. I'll be at MIT trying to finish that eternal paper of mine.
Henry.
Mr. White? I'm Paula Shea. I'm from the Examiner.
That's the boy. That's the boy.
I'm from the Boston Examiner.
Can't use any, miss. Get lots of folks out here from Boston, but not this time of year. Maybe next summer. You come back then.
No, you don't understand. I write for the Examiner.
Oh, you're a reporter, huh?
That's right. I just came down from Carlsbad Caverns, and the superintendent there said I should talk to you.
Oh, Mr. Walsh, nice fellow.
Well, the jury's still out on that one. But anyway, he wouldn't let me talk to Dr. Christopher, but he said that he and his party stopped here yesterday for about 2 hours before they went up to the caverns.
That's that fellow that gave Todd the trailer and truck.
Todd?
Yeah.
A trailer and a truck?
A young fellow works for me.
Is he around?
Yeah.
I want to talk to him, and fast. It's important.
Well, all right, come along.
Thanks for the ride, Mr. White, and save me a cabin with a phone in it now. In a matter of minutes, this place is going to be jumping with newspapermen, photographers, TV. You won't be able to get a room for all the isotopes in Los Alamos.
What's all the excitement?
Dr. Mark Christopher. He's 7 miles down the road, 600 feet underground at Carlsbad Caverns.
So that's where they went.
You mean he didn't tell you?
Oh, just asked me if I wanted a truck and trailer. You're from the Boston Examiner?
Yeah, I have half a column 3 times a week. Paula Shea. I cover military.
Military?
Listen to me, cousin. Women will fight the next one. We're the new front line. Now, let me ask you something. Who do you think is safer? A white-collar girl in Times Square when the temperature hits 2 million degrees, or a boatswain's mate in a nuclear sub 600 feet under a polar ice cap? Come on, don't let the cat get your tongue. I'm recording.
Look, I don't understand what possible interest this could be to a Boston paper. I mean, some guy stops in White City, New Mexico for a couple of hours. I've never seen him before in my life. He's got a whole gang of people with him like gypsies. He says to me, do you want a truck and trailer? And before I can answer him, he gives me the pink slip and they all take off in a bus.
You don't know who Dr. Christopher is?
No.
He's one of the scientists who separated U-235 from U-238. And you know what U-235 is used for?
Yeah.
He's got more degrees than a thermometer. He's got more letters after his name than the Chinese alphabet. ARPA, Advanced Research Projects Agency. NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. AFARDC, Air Force Air Research Development Command. Now, is that enough?
Yeah. Look, why me? Why don't you ask Dr. Christopher whatever it is you want to ask him?
Well, before I landed here, I flew directly to the caverns. And guess what? The Rangers won't let anyone else down until the 8:30 tour tomorrow morning. Plus, they're maintaining this big fat silence about the doctor. So until morning, cousin, you're the only news in town, because you're the only link with Dr. Christopher. And just remember that I found you first. I'm gonna take some shots of the trailer later. Have you been inside?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything?
Yeah.
What?
Furniture.
Gee, thanks. EDTA.
EDTA?
It's a chelating agent to be injected in the bloodstream in case of exposure to radiation. This is funny. It's a calendar with December crossed off and January 1st circle. He must have something figured for tomorrow.
Do you read Latin?
No?
Mors ab alto. Means death from above.
And that was Times Square this evening as New Yorkers welcomed the new year. This is Marlon Haynes reporting to you from El Paso. If the man in the street is concerned about molecular structure, the speed of light, or the speed of an ICBM, happily he did not show it in Times Square tonight as the old year slipped into history. But just 160 miles from here, one man and a small coterie of friends are about to see the new year in, as Neanderthal man once did, from a cave deep below the limestone cushioning of Carisbad caverns. Atomic scientist Mark Christopher has turned a deaf ear to official pressure and the pleading of colleagues, and so far has refused to come back to the surface and rejoin society. A large press corps has gathered in nearby White City to seek from Dr. Christopher the answer to the $64 question. Does his retreat signal the imminent end of the world, a return to the caves for all who may survive whatever it is Dr. Christopher fears? Or are we facing not Armageddon, but a bright new year in the soaring 60s filled with promise?
5 minutes to midnight. Everybody dance.
Now that you've interviewed me and you don't need me anymore, you just throw me aside like an old shoe.
I didn't throw you very far, did I?
Thanks for calling. I tried. I mean, honest, Todd. It's hard without a phone. Did Mr. White fire me? No, you know me. Old cover-up, the sentimental slob. I figured you might be late, so I handled the skyride for you. Well, you wanted to trade jobs. I'll take your place at the museum Monday. Okay? Well, thanks anyway. Miss Benson, Todd Stiles. Paula Shea, Buzz Murdoch. Hey, what's going on? I didn't know there were this many people in New Mexico. They all came in for the skyride.
10 seconds to midnight. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah!
Todd, Happy New Year. Same, Buzz.
Yeah, it's way past your bedtime, son.
Is it 61 yet?
Yes, just now. All right, you get some sleep.
I can't.
Well, Ginger is.
Well, she's only 8.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, at 8, I used to sleep too.
You mean at 11 you've got insomnia, huh?
Dad, even if Mom has a new husband, well, she could have brought him too. You wouldn't have minded, would you?
No, Alan, I wouldn't have minded.
Was she scared when you told her what was going to happen?
No. You see, your mother has a gift of laughter. She can laugh at anything.
Will it hurt her much?
No, won't hurt her at all. Now you get to sleep there. Huh?
Okay.
It's a deal, huh?
Dr. Christopher's party will be off to the side, out of the way. But you can call out questions to him as you pass. Just remember now, nobody leaves the trail. Dr. Christopher, may I please talk to you? Some newspaper people are here to see you. I sure hope you're not going to scare them to death. Morning, Dr. Christopher.
Well, Doc, the rumors are flying. You're being headlined as the 20th century Noah, and this cave is your ark. Would you mind telling us what dreadful event has caused you to come down here and stay?
I'm sorry, I really have nothing to say.
Oh, come on, Doc. Aren't you predicting an atomic attack against the United States?
What's your timetable on H-hour?
No comment. I'm sorry, gentlemen.
Look, Doc, some of us flew 2,500 miles to find out whether you just flipped your lid or whether there's a logical reason for your being here. Now, the least you can do is answer a few simple questions.
I'm not at liberty to do that.
Why not? Come on.
Straight answers here. Is somebody gagging you? Somebody in Washington? Dr. Christopher, you're a member of the National Security Council. Have you discussed this with them?
Or with the Joint Chiefs of Staff? No, come on, Doc. Come on. You got the story?
We gotta have a story now.
We gotta have some. Come on, Doc.
Come on, Doc. Come on, give us a story.
Come on,
Come on.
Ask them, not me!
Hey, just a minute here. Now, wait a minute. Come back. Come back.
You think it's coming today, don't you, Doctor? If you know something, tell me. I want to live, too. If it's true, don't you think that I deserve to know? And all the millions of other people like me?
You know, Alfred Tennyson once said that time is a maniac scattering dust, and life is a fury slinging flame. I believe he could have been writing that about today.
Over here. Oh, scalp. Put it down gently. Thanks, I'll take it from here.
The Iceman cometh. Oh, anybody got hot souls heads? Here. I've got a little eye opener.
Is that better?
New Year's resolution number one. We've
got to be more discriminating about the girls we go out
How
with.
did I know she was a wine taster's daughter?
Anyway, today is a holiday. You can just bury your head in a glacier like an ostrich. You may have a fighting chance.
Oh! Keep that glacier from moving and keep those avalanches quiet. Oh.
I thought they dressed him before they shipped him.
Madame Lafarge, did you bring your guillotine?
No, just my knitting, which I'm tending to. How soon can you be ready to leave?
Hmm?
You want to survive, don't you?
I keep hearing this voice like somebody is hollering for hogs. Just whisper him in, Ma. Let the top of my head heal.
Dr. Christopher is convinced that there's going to be an atomic attack.
It already happened. I was at ground zero.
Look, I thought that if we went there and told him that we had just gotten married and that we wanted to help populate a brave new world, that he'd let us join him.
You don't believe a word of that, do you?
Oh, what difference does that make?
Well, lady, you don't use people like that.
Who doesn't? Listen, my precious square, my darling idealist. This is the biggest story of the year. Come on now. Finish shaving?
Resolution number 1.
She's just a poor working girl trying to find an angle, huh?
That's the boy I like to hear. Ring-a-ding-ding on Pavlov's bell.
I'll take a wine taster's daughter. They may drink you to death, but they don't talk you to death.
Look, I don't mind helping you to get a story, but all this jazz about being married just to trick the doctor? No deal.
He might not let us stay if he doesn't think we're married.
Then we won't stay.
There's another thing, something you didn't think about. Suppose he's right about today?
Oh, come on.
Look, he's never been wrong yet, not once.
Oh.
Dr. Christopher, now this is my final word. Either you get your party together right now and leave at once, or I'll switch off the lights. Now, Doctor, you don't know how dark can be until you've been that far underground without lights. If you make us do the lights, we'll keep them off until the next tour comes around. Now, we know you have carbide lamps and flashlights, but they're not going to last forever. But so help me, as soon as that tour has a chance to look around your area, back you go into the dark. Now, Doctor, look, this is my final warning. You had better come up. Here's the dark.
Everybody all right?
Aren't you scared? What of? The dark. Well, it's no different than before, Ginger. Except that now there's no light on the retina of your eyes outside this old lantern that Dad's got. The dark doesn't stop you thinking, does it, Ginger?
No, but they're scary thoughts.
We'll think good thoughts about collie dogs running across the field with flowers and chocolate sundaes and salamanders.
What's salamanders?
Kind of lizards. Think about Christmas and birthday parties and Sundays at the zoo and
Alan.
And pony rides and trains. I mean, I like planes much better.
Alan.
Yes?
After today, all those things, they won't be there anymore, will they?
Well, we can still think about them, can't we?
Yes. Let's turn out the lights and think about them. Tell me some more good things to think about.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, there's no need to push. There's no call for panic. Don't believe everything you read. Now, those who are here to see the caverns, we're going right ahead with the 4 o'clock tour. But if there's anybody here who thinks that the world is coming to an end and the only place to hide is here in Carisbad Caverns, or if you're here for curiosity or to get your picture in the paper to collect autographs, I want to remind that person that this is government property, and there's stern penalties for any damages or for violation of park rules. Now, these rules are made for your benefit, ladies and gentlemen, and for your safety. So we ask of you, those who are going on the tour, please cooperate with us. Stay in your groups. Do not leave the paths which are provided for you. And the rest of you, please go home. Please? All right, Miss Tony, you can let him through.
Take it easy now, folks. Take it easy. It's a very steep hill. Now, let's stop just a minute.
You look awful. You should have stayed on ice. Dr. Christopher's right. I don't think I can take the noise, not with his head. Be quieter down there.
Won't it go?
I'm sorry, ma'am. You'll have to stay on the path.
This section of the cavern, the ceiling's low, and we have thousands of formations suspended from the ceiling, whereas up in the corridor you had high ceilings with comparatively few formations.
Mommy, why can't we camp down here?
Dr. Christopher? Doctor? You quoted some Tennyson to me, do you remember?
Yes, I remember. You're back. Why?
I'm a convert.
Paula.
And you're the leader.
Aren't you the young man I gave the trailer to?
Yes, sir. We've been wondering about that.
Well, it brought some of us here. It was the end of the road and end of its usefulness to us.
Doesn't it seem a little cynical to leave something to somebody if you figure it's not going to be any use to them either?
Yes, I suppose it is. I'm sorry for that. I think perhaps I was hoping that maybe I'd be wrong. Maybe you might have some use for it after all. If that was the case, it would make me very happy, but I'm afraid it won't work out that way.
Dr. Christopher, do you really believe it?
I'm here, aren't I?
Well, can't you give me a simple yes or no? I mean, if you really think there's something to all this, why don't you warn people?
Because I'm told that in these times there are certain things that are better left unsaid.
You mean like getting hit by H-bombs? It isn't considered cricket to tell people when to duck? We had a quarterback who takes a different point of view than you do, Dr. Christopher. Paul Revere. He gave a lot of important signals.
I tried to call the signal, but what convinces me does not convince the others. It does not convince the authorities.
Well, forget about the authorities. Let the people decide.
Don't you understand? I'm under orders. I can't say anything. I can't make a statement. This is not what I wanted. I wanted to shout it from coast to coast. Even Nikolai, if it meant getting shot, I'm sure that's what he wanted me to do.
Nikolai?
There's nothing I can do. It's too late. There's just 20 minutes left.
Who is Nikolai? Dr. Christopher?
I don't care what your hours are. I'm going in there now, and I'm going to get my son.
Francis.
Well, Mark, you finally went off the deep end. I always knew if I waited long enough, you'd hang yourself. Alan, darling.
He's with me, Francis. And you have as little respect for a court order as you have for people.
Atomic attack. How like you, Mark. Well, I have a court order now. A federal writ, and I'm going to take my son. Marshal? No, Dad.
Nobody's going to take my son away from me.
Marshal.
It's just an order to return the boy to the surface, Dr. Christopher. It doesn't take him away from you or anything like that. It just, well, gets him back in the sunshine. Now, if you bring him up yourself, then there's no problem.
You don't know him, Marshal. He'd let Alan stay here and get pneumonia if he thought it would prove out a theory.
3 days of this cold temperature's bad for that boy, Doctor. He'll be better topside.
Topside? Don't you realize what there'll be topside in 10 minutes? Dust across the sun.
Why don't you tell them how you know, Doctor? And maybe they'll believe you that way.
Francis, Nikolai warned me.
Nikolai? Why, he's as big a fool as you are.
Who is Nikolai, Mrs. Christopher?
It's Mrs. Swanson. And who are you?
Oh, I'm Paula Shea.
Oh, Miss Shea, I'm glad to see you here. Thank you.
Who is Nikolai?
Nikolai were a vintage. One of those long-haired idiots.
He's one of the great minds in the world today.
Great mind.
Francis, you remember how we met him 2 years ago at the Geneva conference and how we played chess together and how we decided to continue playing chess by airmail correspondence. Well, we did, but a strange thing started to happen 6 months ago. Nikolai kept on playing the same game over and over again. I beat him easily every game. But he was so insistent that I had to conclude that he was doing it deliberately. And then suddenly, 3 months ago, his game changed completely. His whole attack was different. He posted his pieces aggressively. His technique was what we call in chess the discovered attack. A move involving 2 distinct simultaneous thrusts at the enemy units. As you move one piece to the attack, you unmask the attacking action of another piece. You can see that the destructive force of such an onslaught is enormous. It's like moving 2 pieces at one time. And Nikolai always dealt the death blow with his knight. Now, in chess correspondence, knight is abbreviated to KT. And Nikolai kept on sending this to me over and over again. KT, KT, KT. Till the abbreviation no longer meant knight to me. Suddenly it meant kiloton. And then a month ago, Nikolai sent me a curious Christmas gift. Some pair of Chinese boots with a little note attached. These are your boots, but he misspelled boots. He spelled it B-O-O-T-E-S. E-S. Bootus. Bootus. I kept on running. Why? And then it struck me that Bootus is a constellation. And the Earth, every year, as inevitable as Greenwich time, moves into orbit with Bootus and is struck by a shower of meteors. Every year, January the 1st, at sunset. At 6 p.m. today. And I recall that in June, we almost sent up a retaliatory striking force because of a false radar reading. What we thought was a flight of bombers turned out to be a flight of geese. And 2 weeks later, what we thought was a shower of missiles turned out to be a shower of meteors. The Russians decide to send ICBMs. We'd bend over backwards not to make a third mistake. And we'd see meteors and geese. Francis, don't you see Nikolai sending me those boots, the way he played that chess game, the way it changed his use of the discovered attack, disguising one piece for another piece? It will be ICBMs and not meteors. Don't you see that?
Oh, really, Mark? Marshal? Well, don't tell me you believe him.
Why don't we wait? You know, maybe just see whether he's right or wrong.
It'll be 6 o'clock in 5 minutes.
These 5 minutes are just as important to me, Mark, as they are to you. Because I'm going to prove once and for all what a fool you are. And what's more, I'm going to prove it in front of Alan. I'm going to show him where he belongs. Not with a crackpot, but with people whose feet are on the ground. Marshal, make him give me my son. No, Dad! Don't let her take me!
I'm sorry, Doctor, but a writ's a writ. It'll just be for a little while, and you can come pick him up in White City.
Wait a minute. You sent for her, didn't you? When she asked you who you were and you told her, she said, "I'm glad you're here, thanks." You sent for her to try to get the boy to stir up a fight with the doc. That way he'd talk and you'd get a story, regardless of who got hurt.
That's life, cousin.
Yeah, that's right. so's that. Don't you see what she's doing? Using you both like two butterflies on the point of a pin at the boy's expense.
Look, I didn't ask Dr. Christopher to come down here, but he's news, so he's public property. He'll just have to take the consequences if he's going to pull stunts like this.
She's with you, not me.
Don't remind me.
It's all right. 3 minutes from now, all this won't make any difference.
Mommy, please!
Francis, don't you have any children of your own?
Please, Doctor, not down here.
Let him go, Doc. She'll calm down after she's had her weight, made her point. Then you can go up and get the boy. Don't you know what's going to happen up there in the next 2 minutes?
It's a lousy job, but I love it.
Stay here.
Will everything be okay now, Dad?
Well, how about it, Dr. Christopher? I don't know.
Well, if you don't mind me saying so, you got a lot of people all stirred up for nothing if you don't know.
Yes, I couldn't have made a miscalculation. It didn't happen on this Wednesday. Does that mean that it's just going to be some other Wednesday?
In the meantime, Doctor, there's 6 other days in a week.
Yes. Well, you use them. For all they're worth, you use them.